welcome to the show, Megan. I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this, and we didn't even have to wait that long for it, which was so great. We were able to schedule it.
I'm so excited too. And when Holly introduced us, I was like, wait, yes, I'm obsessed. Let's do it.
Oh, yes. Holly Haynes was kind of our mutual connector, and I instantly knew you would be such a hit on my show. And of course, Holly's one of my clients, and I love her to death, and she only has good people in her world. So here we are.
Love it.
Okay, Megan. So I introduced you, so I gave all the credentials and all the things. But where I want to start is I want you to talk to us a little bit and give us your 10K one-liner, and then maybe share a little bit about what that is with my audience.
Yeah. So I'm running this event right now. I'm calling it the 10K one-liner, but I actually have I have a good kind of marketing lesson within this, if I could share, that I realized the last few weeks, and I need to make a post about this in an email and all the things, probably a podcast too. So I've started to promote this event called the 10K one-liner. And essentially what it is establishing a line that you can repeat over and over and over again, that you can put into hooks. It could be a podcast interest, stuff like that. So really right now, mine is like rebuilding my business back to 7 figures after having twins, right? That's kind of like my one-liner, if you will. But as I was marketing it, the first like few days, I was like trickling in sales, but not what I thought. I was like, where is everyone? What is happening? Like, this is a really good event. It's $27. Everyone should be signing up for it. And of course, I took a step back and went, okay, let's look at the messaging. Let's look at the marketing. And I realized like I wasn't as clearly communicating what the one-liner actually will do for their content, what it will do for their content, and where they can actually put it. Like, what's the purpose of it? And so I started to really lean into that. And I said, here's what it's going to do for your content. It's going to, if you've been in like the low view jail, right? Like 200 view jail, it's going to bust you out of that. It's going to actually get people to comment the trigger word that you're asking them to on Instagram for your freebie. It's going to actually get people to DM you about that specific one-liner. Like, there were so many specific things that I know it's helped people with because I've coached people through it, but I wasn't sharing that. It was just like, get your one-liner and you could put it here. It's going to make you more money, but there was no specificity. And then the other thing I tweaked was I started to call it more so your authority stamp. And that term really resonated with people. I thought like 10K one-liner, I've had clients literally make 10K months after like getting this nailed down. Of course, there's more to it than just that one line, but it's like the entry point to it. So I thought that'd be a sexy name, but I'm finding if I redid this again, I would change it back to your authority stamp one-liner or something like that, because that term even really, really hit for people. So I switched it. I started to refer to it like synonymously. I'd say one-liner and authority stamp, and immediately like sales started coming in. I was like, okay, wow. So listen to your audience, because I did have someone ask me, hey, where can I put this? And what will this actually help me with in my content? I'm like, the fact that you're asking that means that's not clear enough. Let me go back to the drawing board. So just like a little in the moment inception marketing lesson, because even people who teach it and have been doing it for years, we still like need to work on it. It's never perfect. So I thought I'd share that first.
Okay. I love this so much. And just talking about like in the moment, kind of riffing on what's going to serve our audience the best is so good. Okay. I have a few questions from that though.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what authority means to you, because I think a lot of people get tripped up on, and I know you've talked about this. So like credentials, can it be like lived experiences? What is it? And then how can we leverage things in our business to set us up as an authority figure in our space?
Yeah, I love that question. And, you know, everyone has their own definition, of course, of it. I really look at authority as like, what is that part of you and your approach that makes people choose you over someone else? So if you are, for example, I have a couple clients who are health coaches who also come from a medical background. So one in particular right now, she's a physician and she's helping women with perimenopause. And so that's like a huge value add for her people. Not only will you get a coach who's going to help you through perimenopause, but physician trained and MD for years and years and years. Like, there's so much nuance there that she can add with that experience, right? Also, because a huge like statement that a lot of people who help with perimenopause put out is like, you're dismissed by doctors. And she can be like, hey, I actually don't do that with my patients, you know, and here's how I can take my medical knowledge. So for her, she'll lean into that, but she also at the same time has her own perimenopause story, and it's why she's so passionate about it. So she's experienced it, she's gone through it, and she's the doctor. So she's a great example of someone who will use both. But it's really, if you don't have like crazy fancy credentials, I don't have crazy fancy credentials. I use my lived experience. I use what I've built. I use really the things that I know are going to, for lack of a better word, be impressive. And it's not impressive in fancy things. It's impressive in, I want that too. So a good exercise for you could be, for anyone listening, could be like, write down what true desire your clients want. Like, do they want specific amount of money? Do they want a specific weight loss? Do they want a specific relationship? Like whatever that is, write down that specificity and then ask yourself, what story that I have shows that I actually got that specific thing, that I got that experience. That's going to be a nice little like hint as to what should be your authority stamp. So for me, I don't actually have really the credential in my one-liner. It's more so my experience, but I have had the credential in other ones. And I've used more so, built, business to over 4 million, worked with over 1,000 clients, whatever that specific stuff is.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, is play around with it. I think people get I'm in the middle of this training right now. And it was just a big thing. Like I said at the beginning of it, I'm like, make sure you don't like limit yourself, play around. You can have like 5 or 6 one-liners that you can test. Like it's not, okay, that's it. It's like our Instagram bio. It's always changing. And so see, maybe your credential one works better. Maybe your lived experience one works better. Maybe both together is the secret sauce. But I just find that a lot of people discount their lived experience. And especially if they're like, well, I'm a health coach now, so why does it matter that I was a teacher before? Actually, that's huge. That means that you bring this skill set and this way of thinking that people are used to probably and like that I couldn't bring. I wasn't a teacher, And so that stuff we have to bring in more. And I feel like people separate it, and that's when they become just like one of many and get lost in everyone,
Okay. This is so good. I also want to really lean into what you said about like playing around with it and not I have clients who are currently in this phase of like, I thought it was this, but it doesn't seem to be converting. And then they get so worked up about, can I change to this or test this out? And it's like, I love that play. I mean, you're a twin mom. Like, how else are we going to survive motherhood? But like play. So play. I love that point. So talk to me a little bit about like and then this will be the last point, maybe on the authority piece, but what's the best way to create authority content in your opinion?
I think the best way, I'm actually going through this with a lot of my mastermind clients right now, is thought leadership type of content. So what do you stand for and stand against within your audience? There's really two: storytelling and thought leadership, which could be kind of one and the same. But like, write down a list of like everything that you can't stand in your industry. It's easier to start with the stuff you don't like. For some reason, we just go there. So like, what do you not like? What do you hear other people do that you're like, oh my gosh, I would never do that? Or you've had clients work with you and they're like, well, my last person didn't support me. How did they not support them? Right. So like, write down those specific things. And then on the opposite side, what are things that you love and that you stand for? A really simple example that did well for me and actually got comments and DMs from this specific video. I made a video during my last launch. And basically I said, edits without explanation is just bad coaching. And basically explaining how in my edits to clients, when I do reviews with them, I'm not just like editing their copy or their order of their sales page or whatever it is. I'm explaining why. I'm going, hey, here's why I changed this. Here's why I made this shift. And my clients always comment on that, because I noticed by the end of the program, I have way less edits. Their reviews are so much easier because they're applying what I said. I'm like, that's the point. Is it, you want to get better? It's like, you can lead a horse to water. I don't want you to rely on me forever, And so that video showed something I like stand for that a lot of people might have not gotten in the past. Like, or they might have gotten, it's a big one I see, everything looks great. Good job. Keep going. And they're like, not one edit? Really? It's perfect? You sure? It's like,
what am I paying you for?
I literally last year, I think I've done that twice. And I only remember it because it was 2 times. And I remember very specifically who it was. And it was on their origin story. They were incredible writers. It flowed out of them. I was like, I don't want to touch this. This is perfect. Yeah. Nothing else. I always have something to say and something to like make a little bit better, even if it's a small one. And so that was like a big frustration. A lot of people I worked with said, they're like, I don't even know if they looked at this. Like they were just like, yeah, it looks great. Your content looks great. What does that mean? Like, what's great about it then? Point out that. So that's an example of like, I would share, hey, this is why I don't think that's good coaching. Here's why I don't think this is like worth paying for kind of thing, right? Another example of thought leadership, and this could be really good for video series, which are popping off right now. Video series are everywhere. One of my clients is she's an expert on authority. Her name's Lauren Balterman. Shout out to Lauren. She's doing this amazing series on I'm forgetting what she's calling it. Off the record. It's called Off the Record. And it's from a psychology lens. She's a therapist of 15 years turned business coach. So she's like really sees some of the stuff that goes down. And she's like, as a therapist, like so much unethical stuff is happening. And she's sharing basically some of this stuff that's like very problematic, but she is like the kindest, sweetest soul. So she's not blasting anyone. She's not doing it in a like mean girl way. It's very from a therapist, like, here's why psychologically this is actually not great to use this term in your coaching. So people don't feel bad if they've done that accidentally. You know, they're like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. Thank you. So that's a great thought leadership. It's establishing her as like, ooh, that she's like gets how people think consciously, subconsciously, and she can put that in her marketing. I'm going to go to her if I need that help. You know what I mean? So thought leadership is so great content wise, what you stand for, what you stand against. And then storytelling is so great for authority, because if you're sharing, especially your origin story on why you got started in whatever coaching you're doing or service you're doing, and then the mission behind it, and then also the domino effect of that. How have you helped? How have you helped them? So it's not just like, I got started and here's why I'm doing this, and here's what it's led to. I've helped over 1,000 clients. I've done blah, blah, blah. Like that establishes your authority too, because it also shows you have a process that actually works. It wasn't just a fluke. Does that make sense?
That makes so much sense. Cool. And okay, here's where my brain goes as you're listing these off. I'm like, you literally just listed off probably 7 podcast episodes that could be so good and be used as authority content and nurture your audience, set you apart. Like everybody rewind, listen back, the things you listed, the things you like, the things you don't, your origin story, all those great episodes. So that is so great, Megan.
I love that your brain goes right to that, because mine goes right to hooks. I'm always like, oh, that's a great hook. It's so funny.
Amazing. We need to get together. I'll put together the podcast episodes. You give me the hooks and we'll be golden.
I love it. That's amazing.
Okay, this is so great. One thing we chatted about briefly before we hopped on was your private podcast series. Now, I don't do these really. So I always love talking to people who have and their experience and what it led to and kind of the conversions and all that. So can you kind of bring us into that world?
Totally. Yeah. So as this airs, I actually have a private podcast happening. So you get kind of inception-y. You'll get to like listen and see it and all that jazz. And it's called Main Character Energy. And the first season came out almost exactly a year ago. Season 2 is now. And it was like the first phase, if you will, in my launch sequence that led then into a free event. And the reason I really loved the private podcast, and I've had a lot of clients do private podcasts and really enjoy them. I have one right now that's like her main lead magnet actually, is it's a specific focused topic. So there's like a real purpose. There's a start. It's kind of like a video series, honestly. There's a start and an end, but it's just audio, and you're able to take them on a really start and stop journey, but there's got to be a goal with it. So just full transparency, inception wise, if you go listen to mine, the first phase of my program is called Define Your Edge. And that's really like, what's that thing about you? What's that uniqueness? Why will people hire you over someone else? We really figure that out in the beginning. And then in phase 2, you message it. And then in phase 3, you sell it. And so my private podcast pretty much walks you through the top level, obviously, of phase 1. And so by the end of this podcast, you can't deny that you need an edge. You're like, oh, wow, I see it now. I'm seeing the client testimonials. I'm seeing the proof. I need this. And of course, I'm going to give you nuggets in there, but obviously the goods got to be saved for the paid clients. But it's enough that people are like, oh my gosh, I can't unsee that. Like, I have to learn more about this. And then it leads to my free event, which is where they can really learn the whole process of the framework. So that's how I found it worked really well. Like, I had so many people message me after that who ended up signing up. And I asked everyone, did you listen to the podcast? And almost everyone who signed up listened to the podcast. Most of them went to the podcast and the free event. It was kind of like worked in tandem, honestly. That was the goal. The last episode of the private podcast was inviting them to the free event. And I really found that was just such a nice way to get them like really, my mentor uses this word a lot, indoctrinated. It's a good word to put, in my world, you know, and understand my process so that they were almost using my terms to me in the event, which was pretty cool. And it's fun and it's short. It's like 10, 15-minute episodes. They can listen to it while they're doing stuff, but there's also a timeline. It's like, hey, this is a short, not, you know, you're not going to get it after this like month series. Right. It's timely and this leads to this big thing. So there is that urgency. And I just find now like audio, I'm doing this 10K one-liners, all audio trainings. I loved it because I was like, oh my gosh, did it this morning while I was on my couch with my dog. I was like, this is amazing. I can do this right now like this. I love it. Versus like a Zoom where I have to like show up and be focused and slideshows and all that jazz. And so I think it's just a really cool way to get in people's, honestly, you know, podcasting most intimate moments is when people are listening to podcasts. So yeah, it was very slam dunk. So I'm hoping it happens again this time.
Okay. I love this. And I think that especially in this season of course, everybody loves the word trust recession, but it's like a podcast is such a good way to nurture them. And it shows how you teach and you can, you know, add little personalized things that again, kind of like make them hooked to using the words you're using. So question for you on this, cause I'm curious. I was just at the Moms Podcasting Conference, in Nashville speaking there, and we were talking about being in DMs with, potential customers. And I said, if you put together a bundle of, if you interview, students or clients that have had a lot of success and you put that in together a bundle, you can send it to them. And then it kind of gets them to the point where they're ready to say yes to whatever you have to offer, which is very similar to the private podcast. So question for you, did you include any like student successes or testimonial episodes?
I love that you're mentioning this. So I didn't include any in that because it was kind of like the first phase before the next, but I definitely am like, oh, I need to. So I'm like, wait, I need to do that. And it's funny you mentioned that because I had a program a couple years ago. It was like 2022, 2021 was when I really grew this other program. And I had a whole private podcast on exactly that. It was literally like walking them through from start to finish the program, answering. It's like, if you have a question about the program or you're considering it, here is the private podcast from start to finish. Unfortunately, I don't have that program anymore. I wish I did it for this one. I can do it for this one still. And like everything, the framework, the, you know, the different modules, like answering any question you probably would get, plus client testimonials as well. And I unfortunately like finished that right before I like, basically when I closed the program down, I was like, dang it. But I know like, oh, when someone asks, hey, go binge listen to these. And I will say like the last few rounds, I've had people in particular say, cause I always do, interviews with clients at the end of, I do like usually about 3 or so clients I'll interview at the end of my program. The ones that I'm like, oh, these are really like, not just good results, but unique in a certain way or overcame an objection that I want to highlight. And not everyone, but so many of the people in my last round reference that they listened to those episodes. They're like, oh yeah, I listened to Deb's episode or I listened to Tasha's episode and I loved it and it really helped. So I'm like, wow, they're really like, those are really analytical buyers who want to make sure they're like crossing their T's, dotting their I's and know this is right for them.
Oh, I love your marketing brain so much, like talking about the objections and okay, so cool. I want to hear, cause I was also thinking, yeah, you could release those testimonials almost like once you open up the doors. And so it's like bonus episodes. What is your favorite platform for hosting your private podcast? Do you use Hello Audio or?
I do. Yes. I used Hello Audio and I had 2 last year and I'm probably going to use that again. Yeah. It was just easy, honestly.
So easy.
I was like,
so
I could do this. That's like saying something.
Okay. I love it. All right. So one thing about my audience that I love so much is yes, we podcast. Yes, we want to grow our shows. Yes, we want to turn our podcast into the cornerstone of our marketing. So we love to talk about marketing. And you did a post because you have been in this world for a long time. And you said in the post, there's 3 things that people are doing that do not work in marketing anymore. can you kind of share with us what you found? And this is such a juicy topic because there are people I find who are stuck in the systems of, well, it worked. I'm going to just do what I can to make it work.
Yes. And I will admit, like, I was in that camp for a while,
Yeah,
which is
nothing wrong with it, right?
Right?
Because you have everything set up. So you just are like,
Ugh.
it's easy if I try and just do it this way.
You're
You
like, I don't
know?
want to learn something new.
Totally.
Like, my brain can't do it. So I totally get it if you're there. I fought the good fight for a while, but like literally, I can't tell you how many people I know who are so good at what they do and they quit. Like so many of my friends who I started with aren't coaching anymore. And it's because
Mhm.
the industry changed so much and they just didn't change with it. And I get it, but like, man, they just kind of gave up, you know? And some people were meant to quit. And I think it wasn't the right step for them or life took them a different way. But there were a few who like, it was just too hard. And it's because learning something new is hard. Anywho, I promise it doesn't have to be that sad. I was able to do it. A lot of people were able to do it. You could do it too. So yeah, the three main things, and there's definitely more than three, but like the ones to keep it in a nice Instagram caption that I highlighted. The first one I'm going to say is my favorite, and I'm glad that this is different, is you used to be able to just like show your audience results, being like, look, this person made this much money or lost this much weight or whatever, and not really like the how. Like that phrase, people don't care how you get them there. They just care that you get them there. I used to repeat that all the time in business advice. I was like, don't get too much into the method. Don't explain what you're like, who no one cares. They just want you to get them there. That could not be more false now. Like it couldn't be more false. The main reason is people have tried a lot. They are sophisticated. So they're like, well, but I've tried that thing or I've done this. Unless you're targeting like incredibly green new people. But even then they're smart. They're doing the research. Like there's so much now with AI available that like they're going through that first and then they're coming to you because they haven't gotten results. So you're like a second pass. AI is first probably now. So you have to remember that they do care. And so I have found one of the biggest breakthroughs for my clients has been really identifying what their framework is. What's the step-by-step process you take clients through? And then actually sharing that, communicating it. And it doesn't have to be like every post you're sharing your full framework, but basically like what's the piece of yours that most people skip? And it's like the reason your clients get results. It's because they go through this. So for me, my 3-phase process, phase 1, defining your edge, hands down, that's the moneymaker. If you skip that, phase 2 and 3 is just another content course, another sales course. Like you've got that. Why is it actually going to work this time? It's because of phase 1, because we have to find your edge, right? And so if you can start to explain it that way, like, why is this going to be different? Whether it's the curriculum, the topic, or it could even be your approach. Maybe it's like a similar curriculum, but the way you approach it is from like a very strategic lens. Or I have a couple clients who have more of a spiritual bent and like that works so well for their people. And because they take this spiritual bent, it actually lands for their people for the first time. Right. And so what's the angle that you're taking, if that makes sense? So that's a huge piece of that one is like really actually showing the how people do care. And a tangible way you can do this too is in like, I did one during a launch where I said basically like what the process is when someone submits a review for me. I said, okay, here's what happens when you submit a review. Here's what you could submit. Here's how I look at it. It comes in my workflow like this. I open it up. Here's how I take a peek. Here's an example of an edit. Here's how detailed we get. And so like I explained that. And then I also did another video that was walking them through like their first basically 30 days and then 60 and then 90 and showing like, here's exactly what you're going to go through in these 30, 60, 90 days. People want to know what their experience is going to be like. And so if you can paint that picture, especially for those real experiential buyers, that's huge. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And I'm so glad you laid that out because when you said that initially, my first, like, the thing that fired in my brain was like, how do we show them how without giving so many details that they don't even need to come into the course, that they don't need to work with me?
Yeah.
So the way you laid it out is perfect. My mind's already going like, okay, how can I do that? So I love it.
Yes. I actually have this distiller as part of this workshop I have, and it's basically helps you brainstorm. It's like a GPT, but it helps you brainstorm specific tools that you can label in your framework and scenarios it helps with. So you could even, like, if you have a tool that you're using, let's say in phase 1, like you use a pattern tracker, I'm just making this up, like a pattern tracker, something. Let's call it that, pattern tracker. And you're like, ooh, this pattern tracker tool helped my client double her leads in 3 months or whatever. Right. And it's like, ooh, what's that? I need that thing. So even like go through your process and go, what are some specific tools that I've used, or I do this, I don't have a name for it, make a name up, just like label it something.
Okay.
That's a really good hook in. It's like, wait, I don't have that. I don't know what that thing is. I need that. So that gives it that like tangibility without being too overwhelming.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This is so good. Okay. What else?
So number 2 is only sharing from your expert perspective. So I'm currently doing this and it's very scary. But like people want to see you work through stuff. They want now, especially. Maybe back in the day, it was very curated. It was very like, you're perfect. I aspire to be like you. And you only put out your best, best foot forward. Everyone thinks life is great. We all know that's like, I don't know if I can curse on here. Can I curse?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should have asked that before. We know that's bullshit, right? Like no one's life is perfect. Everyone's got stuff going on. We know that. Like that's obvious. When you talk to anyone, it's like, oh my gosh, how much everyone's got stuff. And so it feels great to see that, because then you're like, oh my gosh, this person is like handling, this is a huge comment I get a lot. Like you're running around with your chaotic, crazy, fun, adorable twins. Like I call our life beautifully chaotic. And you're taking time for yourself. I'm doing a musical right now, and you're launching something and you're supporting clients. Like, how do you do it all? And I'll share how I do it all. It's not perfect. My house is a mess most of the time. Like I get up really early. Like I'm sharing the honest parts of it. And that has gotten me so much more like really beautiful DMs, people becoming clients because they're like, I see the real, like I see it's not this picture, and I have help and I show the help and I'm like transparent about that. And so I think people are craving that realness right now. So working through something, they'll trust you more when they see like the process that you're actually taking to get even better and better and better at what you do. And this is where video series are so gold. Like if you could take people on a journey of you accomplishing a goal, or you have this goal you have set. A great example, I have a client doing this right now. She's a health coach and she's on an 8-week cut for the summer. And she's literally like going through her process, her 8-week program process as she's cutting. And so it's like genius because people can see her transforming, and not a crazy amount because she's always, she's always a certain way, but just life's right. And so they're seeing her go on this cut and sharing her journey, and it's getting a lot of traction. So that's one kind of example of like sharing from you working through it. And then the third one is kind of along with this one, but is only sharing educational content to just like show you're knowledgeable, right? Which I'm sure you've heard that so much. Like people talk about educational content's dead, and it's not dead. It just needs to be taught from a different angle. So instead of just like 3 ways to share how you did it, like 3 things I did or 3 things my client did. Just adding that little bit of social proof is making such a big difference right now. Because if you just do educational content, or let's say you did three tips too, or three ways I was able to do something, and you share those 3 things, that's still technically educational content. Great. You hook them in and they can maybe get on your list. But if you never ever share why you're doing what you're doing, your passion, your story, the emotional struggle, and it's kind of just like top level strategy, they're not going to like trust you enough to purchase something that's higher ticket, right? Like you need to make people think and feel and like to activate them to buy. Otherwise you're going to be looked at as a resource, and people aren't going to buy resources. They're going to save them. They're going to save your post, but they're not going to actually like buy. And a great example, like I did a post recently that is giving all these hooks for people to use, ton of saves. Most saves I've gotten in like a year, I think. And I was like, oh my gosh, amazing. A couple people trickled into my paid offer. I did another post like the day before, an emotional story, no saves. I had like 5-6 people purchase. So I'm like, everyone wants the saves. Everyone wants the views, but like, is it equaling sales? Like I had a client really complaining or frustrated because she's working real hard. And she was like, oh man, my views went down. And at the same, literally almost in the same breath, she's like, oh my gosh, I just got 2 high ticket applications. I'm like, cool. So the right people are viewing. She's like, yeah, I'm going to shut up now. And it was just like so cool to see, because then I've seen people who have crazy views and no applications, And so I know we want it all, but just like get comfortable sharing beyond just the education. So you're not just looked at as a resource.
Okay, this is so juicy and so good. And also it's so like podcasting with like downloads. It doesn't matter as long as you're converting them to subscribers and buyers. That's the route we're going.
Thank you for saying that. I've had to tell myself that my podcast doesn't get crazy downloads, but almost every single person who purchases from me references that they listen to the podcast. And I'm like,
yes.
Never quitting.
Everybody listen in.
Never quitting podcasting because it's my husband even says that. He's like, that's because he edits our podcast. And he gets excited when he sees like a spike and stuff like that. And he's like, every time you launch, like right in your launch, there's a spike because I think all of those people are listening to make sure they want to purchase.
Yes. Okay. I love this. Going back to number 2 is so interesting because when I worked for Amy Porterfield, we did an episode on show your scars. Wait.
Oh, I love that.
Show your scars, not your scabs. No, it's totally opposite of what you're saying.
Oh,
so she's
okay.
saying like once you go through it,
yes.
Show what happened. Don't show the process. But this was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And so interesting. I think one thing that I will just say is like, but what if you fail? What if you take them along? And like, for instance, I know right now you're talking about like it's like 200K in 90 days, right? And you're bringing people along for the process. Now I don't have no worries about you doing that, but let's say
I do.
Like I think that can be scary for people to be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna put myself out there. What if I totally fail? Does that make me less authority?
Yeah. I love this. It's funny. The whole share from the wound, not the scar, or scar, not the scab. I say that all the time too. And I say that more so when it's something that like I'm selling a program and a process that's tried and true because I've tried and it's true, right? Like that 100%. Or like if it's something that you're just, I've had a couple clients, a great example, which this is for myself. My husband and I separated in 2020 and it affected my business. My business affected it so much. And we got back together and then went on to have beautiful boys and are happier than ever. So all good things. But it was such a pivotal point in my life, obviously. And I wanted to share it, but I wasn't ready because I didn't know the lesson. And it was so raw and such a personal part of my life that I was like, this I cannot share in the moment right now. But I had a feeling I would eventually share it. And then a year and a half later, we got back together after 6 months. And then after about a year, I was like, hey, honey, I really want to share this. I think this is like such a good lesson for entrepreneur couples and just like prioritizing yourself. He's like such an open book. He's like, literally share anything. Go for it. It went wildly viral, honestly, for some of the wrong people. So I grew my page in like a kind of good, kind of bad way. That's another episode and another lesson. But I just remember so many people messaging me and just being so grateful for that story. And I had a purpose and a lesson and a takeaway from it. And it literally led to mastermind clients. Like it led to sales. And it's because I had the lesson that I could share because that was such a raw thing and I was selling a program. So that's where I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think right now where we are in 2026, as we're recording this, people are so inundated with perfect content, with AI, with all that stuff. It's like, what's real, what's not. And reality TV is like bigger than ever. It's more, I love reality TV, so I'm part of the problem, but it's like more popular than ever. People love like just what's going to happen next and all the drama and stuff like that. And so putting yourself on the hook, for me, it was kind of a personal thing in terms of like, I was playing it safe and I was getting really comfortable. And I was like, I need to do something that's going to like scare me. And so if you're like kind of comfortable, and even paying my mentor was like not getting me out of this comfort zone, you know, I was like, I need to like publicly say something. And the day that I said, I'm doing this, you know, building to 100K cash months again, but in a completely different way. And I said it out loud. I was like, well, I can't go back anymore. I'm in it. And I changed 3 specific things right off the bat. I like got my program to evergreen. I got some systems set up. I started doing ads, all this stuff I've been wanting to do, but I just never made time for. All of a sudden I made time for it. So I guess my whole point in this like long diatribe is like, think about the purpose of sharing in the moment. Yes, it's helpful for marketing, but it was selfish. If you're like sitting on a goal and you keep playing small, this will really catapult you into action. Make sure you have good nervous system regulation practices, I will say, because it's going to bring up a lot. I actually pre-planned and I'm working with someone who's an NLP expert because I was like, I know a lot's going to come up for me and I need help. Thank God, because so much has come up. It just brings up all your insecurities and your doubts. And what if I fail? What if I do fail? And that was a big thing we worked through, is like, what is the worst case scenario? And I had to come to this conclusion that I think a lot of us have to be humbled by, is like, no one cares as much as me. No one is watching me every second. They're worried about their life. Like, people probably already forgot I'm doing it until I post about it again. You know what I mean? So I think that's another thing, is like, we think there's all this pressure. And even if you fail, like mine is kind of, there's no end. It's like, whenever I hit it. But let's say I wanted to do it, the 200K by the end of the quarter. Let's say I don't hit the 200K by the end of the quarter. I will definitely have made more than I would have if I didn't set that goal. That's going to be so impressive to people. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can totally learn from her. Okay, that was a long rant.
Oh my gosh, it was so good though, because in my mind, I was like, what did I think when I saw you post that? And I was like, oh, what I thought, just if you're curious, like, I thought how inspiring. And then when you broke it down, I was like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant content. And then, but I agree. Like, I thought, oh gosh, I should do something like that. I should probably take her system and work on that. But I also got really excited for you. And I just thought, well, I'm here to like cheer her on. And even if you were to come back and be like, whatever, I think so. Yeah, you're right. And it also will attract the right people into your audience, and you'll have naysayers and whatever. That's
totally.
That's
and I think you just learn so much as you're going through it. And I've already been able to share so much with my clients that I'm like, oh my gosh, this just happened. You guys have to do this or try this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I feel like we could go so much longer.
I know.
But I know we're going to hop on and do another interview for your podcast. I don't want to leave time for that. But Megan, I know you have a lot of exciting things happening right now. So where can my audience come and hang out with you? Because this was one of the best interviews I've ever done. It was so good. So many juicy, tangible things. And I love that, but also like real and raw. So thank
you. That means so much coming from you. So thank you so much. Well, you're listening to a podcast. So I am running a private podcast series that we were talking about before. So you can kind of be like Inception-y, like see how a private podcast is run, as well as learn what your edge is and learn how to figure out your edge, which is so essential right now. So it's called Main Character Energy. This is my second season. You don't need to have listened to first season to understand it at all. It's kind of like a review, but leveled up because it's a year later. So everything else that's happened in the last year. And it really shows you how to build the edge that your clients like really can't stop thinking about. You become synonymous with something. And this is the most important part. This is a big part of the marketing, is AI can't generate this. No. I think right now we have to think about, what can AI not do for us or for our clients, right? And that's hard. It's really, really hard. And so a huge part of what I'm going to talk about in this is why this is a revamped version, because I mentioned AI, but not as much last year. Now it's like, you cannot escape it. If you're trying to, you're going to lose your business. I'm just going to be honest. Like, you have to address it. And so that's going to be a really big part of this, is like, what are the pieces of your edge that are why people will hire you over AI, and why you will stand out from it. So it's something that you just need right now. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be 6 or 7 episodes. I haven't fully finished recording yet, but I'm still like planning all the specifics out, but really walk you through your edge. And at the end, you can, there'll be an invite to join the free event that we have going on in a couple weeks.
Okay, where can they find that? I'm there. Trust me.
I love it. If you go to meganyelaney.com/main-character-energy.
Okay. And I will link that up. Oh, I'm so excited for it. That sounds phenomenal, especially everything we talked about today, just to be able to like put it into practice and actually hear you teaching in that format. I'm so excited. Megan, thank you for being here today. Like I said, we might have to do a part 2 depending on maternity leave, or maybe I'll just have you record one and all the things. But thank you so much for being here, and everybody be sure you join the private podcast.
Thank you.